What do you make of this infighting that we've seen with the Republican nominees? As a Republican, is it different than previous
here's what my reaction is, and I haven't made an endorsement in this race, but I got to tell you, I'm appalled at what Newt Gingrich is doing. I'm appalled. I'm shocked. He has adopted the language of the left that is attacking capitalism. I think we're in an election cycle in which free enterprise itself is very much on trial, because we have an administration that wants to move us to a very different model than the democratic capitalism that has been the source of our enormous success. And these attacks, I think, go to the heart of that. It mischaracterizes the role of private equity. The fact is, you don't become a huge, enormously successful private equity firm unless you figure out a way to grow companies. You know, there's just no question about it. Of course, there are going to be some that are going to fail. But this is part of the American system, and the beauty of our system is that we have found a way to consistently create far more jobs than are being lost because we have a dynamic system. You know, having flexible and dynamic capital markets are a big part of that. That's one last thing. I predict this is all going to fail as an attack against Governor Romney. And again, I'm not endorsing anybody here, but this is very reminiscent.
The focus on private equity.
The attack on capitalism, and specifically through the vehicle of his role in private equity, is very reminiscent of my Senate campaign of last year, 2010, because I had worked on Wall Street in the derivatives business in the 80s. Now, what was more toxic than derivatives? That's a much worse word than private equity. And they spent millions attacking me daily, personally blaming me for the financial crisis because of my role. And it didn't work.
I've called it a red herring all along, because if Romney, we're trying to figure out if he's a guy that can come in here in this sort of despondent state that the country is in right now, and almost akin to Ronald Reagan, because he's running on the same kind of thing. And I feel a lot of similarities. I was around back then. I remember the way that I thought you'd never buy another house. I thought interest rates would never. I mean, it was a very despondent time in the country where we had lost our way. And you wondered whether America could ever come back. So the real question is whether from here on out he can do good things. I mean, if he ran Bain really well, he's an operator. If he did the Salt Lake City Olympics really well, he's an operator. He's a guy that knows what he's doing. He was a governor in Massachusetts. Looking back at whether you were somehow doing something, I don't even, what is the argument about Bain? That you were greedy or something? Or Gordon Gekko?
The only question I have is...
But it's what he does from here, isn't it?
I agree. It's
a red herring.
The only thing I wonder
At least he has some experience in business. He's done something.